Hello and welcome to Flyer Nation, your source for the latest news in the world of Lewis athletics. Thanks for joining us today on LUTN. I'm Shane Gustafson.
And I'm Natalie Budig. Joining us later on in the show is Lewis head swimming coach Roger Carnes. He'll talk about both teams' overall seasons as well as their appearances at the GLVC tournament this weekend.
But before we get to that, let's take a look at some other Lewis Flyer headlines. The Lewis men's basketball team is coming off another successful weekend at home, picking up 2 wins against GLVC opponents and extending their winning streak to 3. The number 22 Lewis Flyers welcomed Rockhurst into the Neil Carey Arena last Thursday night and had to battle the Hawks to come away with the win. The Hawks scared the Flyers in the last few minutes of action when the game was tied at 57 each with 3:31 left in the game. The Flyers and Hawks tied 5 more times throughout the night before Ryan Jackson hit 2 free throws to give the Flyers the lead. The Hawks fouled Nick Valla with 17 seconds left, sending him to the line for the win. On the night, Jackson had 26 points, while Julian Lewis had 18 with 14 rebounds, giving him his 7th double-double of the season. The Flyers came away with a 73-69 victory. On Saturday afternoon, the Flyers welcomed in William Jewell, and the team came together to get a conference win. Freshman Capel Henshaw finished with 16 points in the afternoon, shooting 5 for 7 from the field, and was 4 for 5 in three-pointers. Julian Lewis added 16 points, while David Niggins added 9. In total, Lewis finished with 34 points on the weekend. He talked with LUTN's Scott Turek after Thursday night's game about the adjustments the team made at halftime and the overall success this weekend.
When you entered this game against Rockhurst, you go against a team that doesn't have the best record on paper, but they have played you tough. This was a much tougher game than a lot of us were expecting here. What adjustments did you guys have to make at halftime to answer back with the intensity that Rockhurst was bringing?
We pretty much just had to play harder. I think the first half we came out and we didn't really respect them as much as we should have. So the second half we made sure we came out and respected them and got it going on the defensive end, and that's what gave us the win.
The men are back in action this weekend as they hit the road to take on Missouri S&T on Thursday and Drury on Saturday. Tip-off is set for 7:30 on Thursday and 3 o'clock on Saturday. Let's take a look at the current GLVC standings for the men. Even with the wins this weekend, they still sit in 3rd place in the conference just behind UW Parkside and Indianapolis. Southern Indiana is still just behind the Flyers.
The Lewis women's basketball team picked up 2 wins as well this weekend to extend their current winning streak to 6. The number 16 Flyers welcomed the Rockhurst Hawks to the Neil Carey Arena last Thursday as well and came away with a win, despite a slow start. The Flyers went on a 13-4 run over 7 minutes to take the lead into halftime. In the second half, the ladies were able to put up 35 points and shot 51% from the floor. Sophomore Mariah Henley led the Flyers with 18 points and 18 rebounds, picking up her 18th double-double of the season. Jess Reinhardt had 10 points on the night, while Jamie Johnson scored 12. The Flyers came away with the conference win 72-37. On Saturday, the William Jewell Cardinals came into the Neil Carey Arena, and the Flyers picked up right where they left off. Reinhardt came up with the 27 points on the afternoon, while Jamie Johnson collected 21. Nikki Nellen also collected 6 points for the Flyers with these wins. The Flyers add a cushion to their first-place seat in the conference as well as extend their overall record. After the game on Thursday night, LUTN's Scott Turek talked with Jess Reinhardt about the team's success, especially late in the second half.
How were you guys be able to so dominant in the second half?
I mean, like I said, I think, honestly, we played a lot better defense. In the beginning, we turned the ball over so much, and they had 11 points in, like, the first 4 minutes or something, and then after that, we really slowed them down defensively, and I think we were able to run in transition from rebounding and stuff like that and just get out and go.
The ladies will be back in action this weekend on the road against Missouri S&T and Drury. Tip-off is set for 5:30 on Thursday and 1 o'clock on Saturday. Let's take a look at the women's team's overall ranking in the GLVC East standings. The Flyers are still sitting in 1st place in the conference, with Indianapolis and Southern Indiana sitting behind them. The Flyers have only lost 1 conference game so far this season.
The number 10 Lewis men's volleyball team was at home last weekend, picking up both a win and a loss in the first weekend of MIVA action. Last Wednesday night, the Flyers welcomed the number 2 team in the country, the Loyola Ramblers, to the Neil Carey Arena and dropped set number 1 by 2 points. However, the Flyers were able to come back out in the second set and come away with a victory. Unfortunately, the Flyers couldn't pick up 2 victories in the next 2 sets and ended up dropping the match 3-1. Despite big performances from Jeff Powell and Greg Petty. Powell had 14 kills on the night and 2 block assists. Petty had 10 kills and a block assist. Jacob Schmiegelt hit .364 on the night and the Flyers lost. On Friday night, the Flyers welcomed McHenry and was able to come away with a 3-0 sweep over the Bearcats. Tom Logan hit .467 on the night and had a career-high 9 kills. Freshman Kyle Rhodes picked up 4 kills and Petty had 4 service aces. Head coach Dan Friend said picking up this victory with a different lineup was a confidence booster to the team.
And that was good to see. And then ultimately we got to play some other guys, and those guys stepped in right where the other guys left off and contributed right away and also did some nice things and stayed disciplined. So some great numbers from Tom Logan and Eric Butch, and Scotty came in and ran the offense really nice for us. But it was good to see all the guys be able to contribute and make a nice impact.
The Flyers will be back in action on Friday night as they head to Ohio State to battle with the Buckeyes. First serve is set for 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
8 Lewis track and field athletes collected provisional marks last weekend as the teams traveled to Indiana to take place in the U-Indy Invitational. The women's team collected a total of 12 marks after 6 Flyers came away with victories in multiple competitions. Freshman Amanda Farrow set a mark in the 1-mile run, finishing 2nd overall in the competition. Sophomore Amber Cook won in both the high jump and triple jump categories, while senior Rebecca Preisler came away with a 2nd place mark in the pole vault. On the men's side, sophomore Adam Barr set a mark in the weight throw competition for the 5th week in a row, while Matt Jamilo won the 600-meter run. Both teams will be back in action on Saturday as they travel to Naperville to take place in the Chicagoland Championships hosted by North Central College.
The Lewis men's soccer team announced last week that they have signed a Naperville Central student to a national letter of intent to play for the Flyers next fall. Devin Amu Menasha was key to Naperville Central's successful season, which brought them the IHSA Class 3A championships. As a senior, he had 10 goals with 10 assists. He has been nominated for several awards, including the All-DuPage Valley Conference Team, Chicago Sun-Times All-Area Team, and the Daily Herald All-Area Team. Head coach Evan Feifel says he is excited to see how this new addition will impact the team next season.
The Lewis baseball team hosted their 7th annual Fast Pitch Banquet last weekend at Charlie's Place. The team hosted a full dinner for those in attendance, and the 2013 award winners received recognition. The team also invited Dr. Charles Crowder, the chairman of the Lewis Athletic Committee, as the guest speaker at the banquet. Attendees were able to purchase team merchandise at the event as well as participate in a silent auction.
We're going to take a quick break here on Flyer Nation, but when we come back, we'll have Lewis head swimming coach Roger Carnes. Stay tuned.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
In 1978, 6 institutions joined to form one of the nation's top NCAA Division II conferences. Today, this union has expanded to 16 proud members celebrating 35 years of commitment to the classroom, championships, and the community. Pioneers who paved the way, leaders who emerged from within. Progress made possible by people. Today, it's those people that inspire the next generation to guide us forward in the next 35 years. We are the Great Lakes Valley Conference.
The big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 home
runs. Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Welcome back to Flyer Nation. Joining us now is head swimming coach Roger Carnes. Thanks for joining us today, Coach.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So we just ended the season pretty much. Both teams had a pretty successful season. We had the men finishing with a 7-4 record.
Correct.
The women had a 9-2 record. What were some of the keys to having such a successful season on both sides?
Well, I think both teams are a little deeper than they used to be. So the depth is good. That helps you score some points. And we've just had a really good buy-in on training. So they're working very hard. They're doing a great job. We brought in a good freshman class, and we hope to continue to build from here. Best records, by the way, in school history for both sides.
Which is definitely something of note, both sides. And you mentioned both having the freshmen in there. Would you say the freshmen were a pretty big key to having successful seasons?
I think so. They just added nicely into the mix of upperclassmen we had here already and improved that strength. And that's something we hope to see as we move forward, continuing to do that very sort of thing.
So now that the season is over, you have the GLVC championship coming up this weekend. What's it like to compete in the GLVC championship for the first time?
That's kind of an exciting thing because you're right, we've never had this meet before. So there's been a few kinks and a couple of stumbles along the way as we try to put together all the intricacies of a championship meet. But I think we're going to be ready by Wednesday. Have to be, because that's when we start swimming. So, but the meet looks good. It's in Crawfordsville, Indiana, at Crawfordsville High School, which is a really good pool. I've coached there a couple of times. We always seem to get fast swims there, so kids are looking forward to it. And the GLVC is going to be one of the strongest conferences in the country in Division II swimming. We've got some really great teams there, some very fast swimmers. And it'll be an exciting meet.
So the last time the teams were in the pool was January 18th. The last meet of the season against Indianapolis canceled due to that extreme cold weather. What's it like going into a championship meet with not having been in the water in probably about a month?
It's actually not a bad situation, to be completely honest with you. What we want our swimmers to be right now is rested and take away some of that fatigue they have from the very intensive training that we do. Also, from the competition that we do. So would have liked to have swam Indianapolis. It's always a good team. It's a good measure of where you are at that point in the season. But losing that, or not having that meet rather, it didn't hurt us. It allowed us to rest the kids a little bit more and have them prepared to get some national cuts, we hope.
So we talked about having the GLVC. This is the first time going into the tournament and all that stuff. And it was the first time in the GLVC for the swim team, first time the GLVC offered swimming as part of their conference. What was it like to be a part of the GLVC, and just talk a little bit about the other opponents in the GLVC this year?
This year? Well, we've got what I think is one of the strongest conferences in the country. Indianapolis is a GLVC team, which we unfortunately did not get to swim. But we swam William Jewell. We swam Truman State for the very first time since I've been here. Maryville, which is a brand new team. Missouri S&T for the first time since I've been here. So we're trying to kind of move our dual meet schedule that direction just a little bit so we can kind of get a feel for where these guys are. And they're just good swimmers, which is great. Really helps us. You want to race fast people if you're going to be fast.
You talk about having the GLVC new opponents, but you also had some old opponents in there too. You guys took on Carthage College and Olivet Nazarene. What was, were you able to take some of what you learned last year against these opponents and bring it into this season?
Yeah, absolutely. And Carthage is kind of a traditional opponent of ours. They're not that far away. They're only up there in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Coaches there are good friends of mine. And that's a rivalry we intend to continue as long as they'll have us come. Our women's team beat Carthage women for the first time. So that was exciting. So I think that's also a measure of our progress as we continue to move forward and get better. Olivet Nazarene is a fairly new program just down there in Bourbonnais, and but they've got a very successful coach. He's very experienced, and he's brought in a lot of really good swimmers. And so those were the women's meet was 7 points. We won that one by 7 points. It's a pretty exciting meet. That's a very, very narrow victory in swimming. In fact, we either won the last relay or we didn't win the meet. So, wow. Yeah.
So you talk about the teams are obviously together all the time, the men's and women's team. Would you say maybe, do the teams feed off of each other's success?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a real advantage to that. There's a great team unity. It allows the guys to support the gals when they're racing and vice versa, and I think that that brings more energy to the deck when that happens in the practice pool. Some of the faster girls have guys that they can race, as they train each day. And then I've always said, you know, the girls kind of keep the guys under control a little bit. If they're there by themselves, they get a little squirrely. But if the girls are around, they need to tamp it down just a little bit. So no, it just works out great.
Okay. Well, both teams have captains on the teams, and just talk about them, their leadership, leading both the teams this year.
Yeah, Emily Hines, the captain for the women's team, and Emily is a swimmer's captain. She's very concerned about the team as a whole. You know, she's got an outlook that goes beyond herself, and she wants success for everybody that's on the team. And we really appreciate her leadership and what she does. She brings, concerns that the swimmers have to the coaching staff. She takes our explanations back to reiterate what we've already told them. And I just really appreciate the fact that Emily is thinks beyond herself and thinks to the team as a whole. Tyson Pollock is a junior, actually, and he's captain of the men's team, and is just a great guy to have around. Much like Emily, he thinks beyond himself, thinks to the team as a whole. But Tyson's a motivator. He's a little more verbal than Emily, and he likes to get the guys fired up and going. And they're doing a great job. And we're real pleased with the leadership that we see from both of those athletes.
So the GLVC championship meet coming up this weekend. What do you expect out of the teams?
I expect to see some really unbelievable times. Truman State, I think, in its history has 8 women's national championships. Drury has, I don't know, hundreds. Maybe not, but I think they've won the last 9 consecutive men's national titles, 6 of 7 of the last women's titles, and the one they lost by a point. So, we see really strong swimming out of those 2 teams. Indianapolis is always amazing. Missouri S&T is to my knowledge, one of only 2 men's-only teams in the country. And, they're just really solid. They're really a good team. You see great upcoming swimmers in newer programs like William Jewell, Bellarmine, and some of these other schools. So it's going to be an exciting meet. We kind of went from the frying pan to the fire. Last year, collegeswimming.com ranked the GLIAC, where we used to compete, as the deepest and strongest conference in Division II. And Indianapolis and Lewis leave that and go to the GLVC, and that may take over that title. So, it certainly is not going to be an easy transition for us, and I like that. I really think that we need to be competing at the highest level possible if we're going to be the best that we can possibly be.
All right, well, Coach, good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right, well, thank you. Stay tuned to Flyer Nation. We'll be right back.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I've just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Good one, son.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing.
Wow! I'm so proud of you, son.
And then we went on Thunder Shark.
That was awesome! Let's go again!
3 times. I gotta say, it was pretty cool.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Oh, not again.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We beg to differ. They are snapshots that represent lasting memories, stories to be told for years to come. Our story is one pictured not just with trophies, but with diplomas, friendships, a helping hand. New chapters beginning every season. This is the story of the Great Lakes Valley Conference.
Welcome back to Flyer Nation. We have a lot of recognition this week, and we will start with the GLVC naming 2 Flyers as the Fall Scholar Athlete of the Year award. Andrew McLean of the men's cross country team and Alec Pickett of the men's soccer team have won the award for their respective sport and represent Lewis in the conference. This is the second year in a row that McLean has received this award, sitting with an overall GPA of 3.87 at Lewis. Pickett had a strong season for the soccer team on the field and also posted a GPA of 3.95. The Great Lakes Valley Conference announced last week that freshman Stephanie Nielsen has been named the GLVC Indoor Track and Field Athlete of the Week. Nielsen turned in a provisional mark in the 800-meter run at the GVSU meet 2 weeks ago. Head coach Dana Schwarting says she deserves this award.
It's time to announce our Flyer Nation Player of the Week, and we'll start with Jacob Schmiegelt from the Lewis men's volleyball team. Schmiegelt had a successful game Wednesday night against Loyola and hit .364 on the night. He was a key to the Flyers' success on Friday night as well against McKendree. Head men's volleyball coach Dan Frenz says having Schmiegelt in the lineup helps the team succeed. We'd also like to give our Athlete of the Week award to Capel Henshaw of the men's basketball team. Henshaw put up 16 points on Saturday in the game against William Jewell and has provided a spark off the bench for the Flyers all season long. Head coach Scott Trost says Capel is a key to the team, and having him come off the bench makes the team's depth that much better. We'll expect to see more awards given out later in the week. Be sure to check out lewisflyers.com for the latest information about your Flyer awards. So, as always, good to see all of the awards that the Flyers get. And the ones that always shock me the most are the ones that have the GPA of like 3.87 and 3.95.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to them. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication to keep such a phenomenal grade point average. So
it really does.
It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they, how much. I'm sure they'll improve over the next few years that they're here at Lewis. So I'm excited to see what happens with them.
I am too. We're going to take a quick break here on Flyer Nation. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
All right, you ready for some baseball trivia? Let's do it. What year produced the most no-hit games in the big leagues? 7 no-hitters in 1990. Wow, that's right. Now a question that's not trivial. How many children will witness bullying this year? Huh. The answer? 3 out of 4. 75%? That's right. How many of them will say something?
Kids want to help, but don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We beg to differ. They are snapshots that represent lasting memories, stories to be told for years to come. Our story is one pictured not just with trophies, but with diplomas, friendships, a helping hand. New chapters beginning every season. This is the story of the Great Lakes Valley Conference.
Discover Lewis University and discover more.
It was a great school, small class sizes, one-on-one attention.
The professors are able to give you their real-world experience.
You have nursing majors who are in simulation labs, aviation majors that are flying overhead.
I go back to my Lewis University security force days and tell them this is my foundation and this is how I train.
Lewis's 5 campuses made it convenient for me as a working adult.
Grow, learn, and succeed at Lewis University.
All of our Lewis athletics teams are hitting the road this week, so there will not be any home games, but let's take a look at where our teams will be playing. On Thursday, both Lewis basketball teams will head to Rolla, Missouri to take on Missouri S&T. The women's game is set for 5:30, while the men's game is set to start at 7:30. On Saturday, the basketball teams take on Drury in a big matchup. The women's game will begin at 1 o'clock, while the men's game will start around 3 o'clock. Also on Saturday, both track and field teams head to Naperville to take place in the Chicagoland Championship, and the men's volleyball team heads to Ohio State for a big conference matchup against the Buckeyes.
Don't forget to check your Lewis email accounts for the weekly flight plan email, which keeps you up to date on upcoming games, both home and away. Also, we would like to say good luck to both of our Lewis swimming teams as they compete in the GLVC tournament this weekend. Both teams are set to swim on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. in Crawfordsville, Indiana.
So good to see the swim teams go into the GLVC championship meet.
So exciting. Isn't that the first time that they're going?
It is.
So how exciting for them.
Yeah, first year in the GLVC, go to the championship.
Perfect for them.
Yeah, sounds good for them. All right, well, that just about wraps it up for us here today on Flyer Nation. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you join in next week when head women's basketball coach Lisa Carlson stops by.
All of us here at Flyer Nation hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time right here on LUTN.
We have so much to celebrate in Division II, but we're especially proud of our commitment to Make-A-Wish.
Division II student athletes have led a 10-year initiative to raise funds and help grant wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions.
Nearly $3 million have been raised, and hundreds of children's wishes have been granted.
We play hard, we work hard, and we support others in need. Why? It's simple.
Because we care.